In this episode of the Dr. Wyatt Marriage Podcast, you're going to see me respond to 3 different callers who called in with questions they have about their relationship. As you hear each of the calls, try to see if you can relate. Are you facing something similar in your relationship? I'm couples therapist Dr. Wyatt. I've been in private practice since 2004 and I've helped over 1,000 couples restore their relationship. If you'd like my free training on how to restore your relationship in 90 days, comment the word training below, and I'll also leave the link to it in the description.
It is my understanding right now that in order for her to feel and ever be any chance of reconciliation, I have to let her go. I don't know. I'm having a hard time letting her go. I can't find peace being alone.
Yeah, just to make sure I'm hearing you. So it sounds like she's wanting a separation because of things that have happened, and you feel like you're becoming the best version of yourself ever when she's at her lowest point. And so there's a mismatch there. And now that she wants separation, you're really struggling with how to let her go because you're really attached. Of all that, what would be your top question for me?
I don't know. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a good person. Well, I don't think I'm not a bad person, but I don't know how to give her the peace. Now that I can see some of the stuff that she had issues with, how do I, with love, let her go?
Yeah.
I see her every day. You know, we've got a three and a half. Our youngest is 3.5 years old. I see her every day, and
Yeah.
it's a struggle.
Yeah. When someone wants a separation, usually the worst thing to do is try to force or plead with them not to leave because they're leaving for a reason, right? Something has happened, or there's probably been a pattern of behavior that they just got fed up with and they can't take anymore, or their needs have been overlooked or neglected, and she's probably tried to speak up, I would imagine, in some way, and it didn't lead to change, and so she got discouraged and finally felt hopeless and left. So usually the best thing you can do in these kind of scenarios is if you haven't already, get very, very clear on the exact changes she needs to see in you for her to feel any hope. Even having that written out, like, I need to see this change. I need to see this change.
In 5 weeks, repeated so much that I could probably write it down.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because that's a first step. Because a lot of times in these scenarios, the person left in your shoes is a little vague on what are the top changes I need to make. So it's good that you know what they are. So then the next step is getting to work and doubling down and giving it all you got to make those changes, and then discerning and even discussing with her how can you show her that you're making those changes, so that she can see the evidence. And then it's going to take time because even if you do an amazing job making these changes, she's going to feel skeptical that they're going to stick because she probably will feel like, well, you know what? Are you just doing that to win me over? And how do I know you're not going to just go right back to the same behavior? So it can take weeks to months to.
I'm nervous for that myself.
Yeah.
Seriously, I was complacent for so long.
Right, right. And so that's usually the steps is, okay, I need to figure out exactly what the changes are. Okay, now I know what those changes are. Now I need to get to work making those changes. And that might mean individual counseling. That might mean reading books, whatever that looks like for you to make those changes. And then the third piece is, how can I show her I'm making those changes over time? And then that's all I can control, right? And then the rest is going to be in her court. And then hopefully she'll see the changes over time. She'll start reconsidering, and then maybe she'll be open to give me another chance.
Having an affair, not admitting it.
If you think your partner is having an affair and they are not admitting it and they want to move out, there's little, unfortunately, that you can control in that type of situation. Obviously, you can share your concerns. You can share your hunches that they're having an affair. You can share that you're willing to work on the relationship if you are. And that's about all you can do, unfortunately. So if they want to move out and they're having an affair, you have limited influence with what you can do. All you can do is work on yourself. And what is it that you need to improve in? What feedback are they giving you that's making them want to move out? That's the only thing that you can focus on and try to improve in yourself. Now, if there was proof they were having an affair and they've admitted they're having an affair, that's a different story. Then we would get into ceasing all contact, opening up all accounts, But in this kind of scenario, your wife is the one who sounds like she's having an affair and she wants to move out as well. Sometimes when you let your partner go and you don't pursue and you don't try to convince them to stay, sometimes that's one of the best things you can do, because the more you pursue, sometimes the more they withdraw. And maybe your wife needs to experience life without you, life without the family, so she can see what she's going to be losing if she goes that direction. And I know it's hard to do, because when your partner is wanting a separation, they want to leave, it's very easy to cling on to them tighter. But unfortunately, a lot of times that clinging onto them tighter makes it worse. So try to focus on what you can do, how you can improve as a spouse and as a partner, and hope that the separation will help your wife see what she's doing and realize what she's going to be losing.
I guess my main question is, what can be done if he doesn't feel like he did anything wrong by having sex with another woman?
So the fact that your husband has cheated on you and he's trying to convince you that it's not wrong is outrageous. It has nothing to do with one's belief system or faith system. Research shows cross-culturally across the entire globe, the number one thing that breaks trust in relationships is cheating. Has nothing to do with your religious orientation or not. It's just something wired into all of us. If you're in a relationship and your partner cheats, it breaks trust. It breaks trust more than anything else can. It's devastating. That's why it creates PTSD symptoms for the betrayed partner. So either your spouse is intentionally trying to gaslight you, or they just have a very skewed moral compass. Sounds like his boundaries, his own sense of right and wrong has been severely damaged, and that might stem from abuse in his own upbringing or lack of attachment in his own upbringing. But it sounds like he's trying to justify his behavior and trying to rationalize what he's done and trying to make you think that you're thinking of it wrong, which is false. So this is what you would do in that kind of situation. You would say, I'm not going to get into a debate on if infidelity is right or wrong because we see it differently. But what I can tell you is I believe it's wrong. If we're going to repair our relationship, you need to have zero contact with anybody you've ever cheated with. Because if you keep having contact with that person, or if you keep going to the place where they're going to be, first of all, you're going to be tempted to probably cheat some more. And I'm not going to be able to heal because I'm going to wonder if you're cheating again. Therefore, the very first step to affair recovery is ceasing all contact with the affair person. Now, if your husband responds and says, well, I'm not going to do that. I've been going to that place for years and you just have to get over it. If he says that, then you proceed to get a separation. You get a separation without any contact. And if you have kids together, you might need to get a third party in charge of transporting the kids. But it's important to get a separation, because if you stay in that situation, first of all, it's emotional abuse toward you. And it sends a signal to your husband, you can keep cheating because I'm not going to do anything about it. And so he needs to have that separation as well, so he can realize you mean business, and he can taste life without you in the family to realize, hopefully, that's not what he wants. That might be what he needs to realize. He needs to pivot back and be faithful to you alone. So I would get out of the debate on if infidelity is right or wrong. You guys view it differently, but you hold true to your values, which is it's wrong to you. And if he is not willing to cooperate with that, you get a separation until he's willing to cooperate. Because you need to take back some control. You need to take back some power. When someone has cheated, they have all the power. And so you need to take back some of that power and initiate that separation in order for you to have a boundary and for him hopefully to realize he's making a huge mistake. If you have resentments in your relationship and you're starting to feel hopeless, go through my Marriage Intensive. It's my most comprehensive resource to help couples resolve their resentments and rekindle their love. Comment the word ER below and I'll send you the link, and I'll also include the link in the description. If you have questions you'd like for me to answer, call me on Saturdays live on the podcast from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can reach me at 303-578-0618. If you don't get me, leave a voicemail and then I'll respond back to it on a future episode. If you found the episode today helpful, forward it to one other person in your life, a family member, a friend, so you can pay it forward. And remember, you are the only thing you can control in your relationship. So work on becoming a better version of yourself, and that will improve your marriage. Thanks for joining. I'll see you in the next one.